Hi friends, did you know the video that you are about to see was done in Terri's Creation Station almost a year ago? So the information as far as the supplies and availability of those things that we used in the video may not be available, but you can certainly use the techniques that I go through, and that's what's important. And the good news is, if you want current content, you just have to join Terri's Creation Station, www.terriscreationstation.com, and you'll get current content, so check it out. Hi friends, it's Terri, and here we are for another monthly tutorial. I can't believe today's actually the first day in our swimming pool, but we're working on fall. In our business, you have to do things ahead of schedule. So we're going to get a jump start on fall. I've picked out some great materials for us to use, and we're going to start with the bow. This is one of the ribbons that I selected, and it just says Happy Fall, Y'all, which down here in the South is perfect. So we're just going to make it. You can also do a hand bow if you want. You can use a pro bow. You can use an easy bow. Whatever you decide to do is fine with me. But we're just going to take this and gather it. This is a 4-in-1 device that is what we're going to use today. So I'm going to make about a 7-inch loop. This is on the board. You can see it's got it marked there. And this is a fairly easy way to make a bow, and you don't have to hold it with your hand. So I do like to be able to use something that I don't have to grasp onto and hold. So let's do a couple more loops. Remember, you just have to twist it to the other side because you want the right side of the ribbon to be facing up. So you've got to do a twist. But fall is one of my favorite times of the year. I can't believe we're already working on fall again. Seems like it's gotten here quickly. Okay, so that's our first ribbon there. And then let's use this pretty gold color, because these are all the colors of fall. And the elements that I've picked out are really going to complement this gold ribbon. If you get a head start on your seasons, and that way you're not in a rush to get everything listed in your shops, on your websites, or in your Etsy page, it makes it a little bit calmer. So I don't really do a good job of myself personally staying ahead of the seasons, but trying to do better. It just takes a lot of effort to think that far ahead. And since you are buying materials ahead, sometimes you're at a disadvantage if you're buying retail, because some of the stores used to would not put out anything early enough that you could get a jump on it. But I've noticed that some of the craft stores, Hobby Lobby and others, are starting to put materials out earlier. So that's better than it used to be. Okay, we're going to use this 1.5, and it's the same process. Here, twist, gather. You can almost make these bows, it seems like, without watching or looking at it. And let's go ahead and make another set of loops so that each ribbon has 2 sets. Now, before you start any of your projects, if you'll just kind of in your mind lay out, you can put your elements up onto the wreath base and sort of have an idea of how you're going to map it out. That's not to say that you may not change, may change your mind about it. But it does kind of help to know where everything's going to be placed. Okay, for this particular one, I'm going to use some of this brown wired rope. You can get this at Hobby Lobby. I like using this on a grapevine because it blends in with the grapevine itself. So we're just going to take this and wrap it around. And the rest of the time that we're going to be working is going to be actually on the wreath stand itself. This is going to be a large design, so I want to make sure that I have it upright and I can really see where everything's getting placed. But we've got some good camera angles for you, so you'll be able to see what's happening. Okay, we're going to put this aside. Now, I've sort of done a preliminary spacing of where I want everything, and I know for this design I want my bow to be down here on the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and get that placed. And one of the things that I've started doing lately is putting a piece of styrofoam. Let me grab some. Just a block of styrofoam. I'm going to cut it just a little. It doesn't need to be that large. So we're just going to cut a piece to elevate our bow up off of the wreath base itself. Okay? And to keep that on there, we're just going to tie it with a couple of zip ties. So just find a spot down here. That's where we're going to put our bow. And this is not going to show. If you think it's going to show, you can cover it with some moss or other elements, to give it some coverage. But I find that once we start adding everything else on here, it's not going to really show. Don't you just love how you can just throw your stuff down on the floor? Clean it up later. That's how real artists work. They just sling stuff everywhere. So again, the main reason I'm doing this is to get the bow elevated just a bit up off of the wreath base. And I hope my wire is now long enough. Which actually it's not, so I'm going to add some more wire. I didn't allow for that when I was cutting it first. I'm going to get another big piece. So it goes all the way around that styrofoam. So I'm going to turn this around so you can see. And then we're going to twist it around. Make sure you turn this inward so you don't scratch your customer's door. In fact, I have one customer who has really beautiful wooden doors, and we put felt on the back of the wreaths for her door. She has double doors because I don't want anything scratching that door. It's way too pretty. Okay, so let's fluff this out a little bit. And again, I don't get too worried about the final fluff on this bow because we're going to be messing around with it quite a bit. Adding the other floral elements, so it's going to get twisted around. But see how that makes this a little more three-dimensional, and it lifts your bow up instead of it sinking down into the design. Now, the other thing that's going to allow us to do, see how this word is going the wrong direction. That's what's tricky about these ribbons that have words on them. See, this one doesn't really even have any words, okay? So what we're going to do is cut a piece. We're going to cut a piece of the ribbon that has the words on it. So here we have it. We're going to run it the correct direction. And to get this on the wreath, we're going to just gather it right here. I'm going to put it in the pick machine, and we're going to put a little pick on it. And then just a little bit of glue. And then because we've got the styrofoam up in there, we can now just push this piece of ribbon into that foam, and then we've got our words. See, happy fall. So that's a great way to be able to add those words in there if you don't have them over here. In fact, let's put another piece there. But that's a little trick if you want to add the words. Ribbon with words is tricky. So I'm just going to put a little piece or a little pick on here. And stick it right into the styrofoam that's under that bow. And then we can trim this one off because it's kind of long. There we have it. Okay, so that's our beginning. We've got our bow finished. Again, if you think you're going to see these mechanics back here, we can cover them later. Not to worry about them right now. All right, the next thing we're going to do is add this beautiful fall garland. Remember, you'll have a supply list of all the materials that we're going to use. And I'm going to cut the tag off right now. So that goes on your supply list. Well, I say I'm going to cut it off. There we go. Now, we're going to just put this on there the way it is, you know? So, let me cut this off. We don't need all of that. So it's going to fit perfectly around the top of the wreath without cutting any of it. So what I want to do is start right about here, and we are going to zip tie this onto the wreath. What would we do without zip ties in our business? We would have a hard time, wouldn't we? Okay, we're going to add that there. And this garland is going to be a lot fuller because we're going to fluff it out. It's kind of flat coming out of the box from the factory. So we want to kind of give it a little bit more life. But anytime you can use a piece of garland like this, it speeds up your process. Instead of adding each one of these leaves and pine cones and everything by hand individually, why not just use a garland that's going to have it all there? And then we're going to accessorize it. So it's kind of like putting on a little black dress. And then you put on some pretty accessories with it, you know, your earrings, your necklaces and bracelets and that type of thing. And then you dress it up. So that's what we'll do. The garland, the little black dress. And because Grapevine is such a popular base for fall, it's okay if it shows through at places because it matches the decor of the fall season. And then we're going to put this right up here. All right, we do have it on there pretty good, so let's go ahead and start fluffing this out. And I want you to see how it changes everything. You're going to take these branches, the berries, the pine cones, everything, and just kind of work with them and pull them out away from the wreath itself, because you don't want anything flat on there. Pull it out. Kind of like when you're fluffing your hair, or just give it some volume. So see, this side's fluff, this side's not, and it makes a difference. Don't leave it on there flat. Nobody likes flat fall leaves. And these look real. I mean, you can almost believe that they came out of the yard the way they look. So we've got some really good realistic materials here. And I don't know what makes me jump around. Like I went over here and started fluffing instead of continuing. I don't know why I do stuff like that, but anyway, we're going to get it all fluffed out. And so we've got a little bit more fullness now on what we're working with. It's already pretty. You could pretty much just put this on your door and you could be done. But we're not going to stop there, of course. Okay, let's pick out our main focal points. Are going to be these cutie pies. It's a set of little scarecrow woman and guy, girl and boy. Let me save the tags so I know what I'm giving y'all on your list. I guess there was just one tag. Okay, so we're going to put these on the top, and I'm not going to put them next to each other. I'm not going to put them even. I'm going to put them kind of catty corner, I guess you'd say. So there's a wooden post back here, and you guessed it, we're going to zip tie this on there. That's the best way to get it to stay. So we're going to nestle this little guy into the wreath, and I kind of want it up a little higher up here, and the pants are going to hide the zip tie, so we're not too worried about that. And then we're just going to run that on that post that I showed you just a second ago. So far, we have not used any glue on this design. Except for what we did down here on the tails. I'll take that back. We did use that. So that's a good placement there. Might could go a little bit tighter. Oh, you know what? That's why it's not staying. It's because I turned it the wrong direction. Hold up. Hold the phone. It's gotten twisted. That should have been my first clue when I heard it not going on there. It'd be tricky when you're doing this backwards and can't see what you're doing. Okay, let's try it again. Okay, that sounds better. Much better. Okay. And I know these zip ties are way overkill. They're too long, but this is all I have right now in my stash. So you could get by with something smaller for sure. So we got this guy up here, and let's put her on. And she's going to go down here a little bit lower, all right? Make sure I can, I'm going to switch over here so I can see a little bit better. But anyway, we're going to be putting her right on this side. Same concept. We're just going to take that zip tie and go behind that post that is behind her dress. It's nice when you have these parts of the feature things that you can grab hold of instead of having to staple or anything like that. And that rattling y'all hear is my pick machine shaking on the table. Okay. Now I am going to secure her down low because she's trying to kick out for some reason. Okay, that's better. Get your arms straight, little one. And then just make sure your elements are pulled out from behind her. If you see anything kind of hidden, you can pull it out. All right, so we've got our two scarecrow couple, the couple on there. Now we're going to put our sign. The sign has a burlap hanger, which we're going to utilize, and we're going to stick this kind of behind those two, but where you can still read the words. So make sure you are not covering up that part of it. Now let's take some of this brown rope, and I'm always losing my cutters here. We're going to use the jute rope and take this and run it up through the top. Let me get my needle nose. Okay. just twist this around. And see, that does camouflage really well because it is brown. It's not going to show. Okay, now there's two little holes in this sign right here at the bottom that we're going to put another piece of wire in, and we can't use that brown stuff because it's too thick. It won't go in that little hole. So we're just going to use some regular floral wire. It's not going to show because we're going to be adding other stuff to it, so it'll be camouflage for us. So we're just going to run a little piece of wire through that small opening on the bottom on both sides, just to anchor it. Okay. And just kind of play with your elements and make sure you can see the sign itself and what it's, you know, the message on it. You don't want to lose that. And then there's another little place right down here. Again, doing it by feel, so you have to be patient. Well, maybe do it this way so I can see what I'm doing. To use your tools, get that thing through there. Okay, so I'm just going to tie that off. And we've got it secured now in 3 places. At the top. And on 2 places on the bottom. See what I said about messing up the bow? That's why you can't really worry about it till the end. She's got leaves coming out of her dress. Okay. So as long as you can see your sign, everything should be okay. All right, pay no attention to the bow because we're going to work on that. Okay, I have these really pretty picks. They're nice and full. We're going to add some of these in there. Make sure I get these tags off. Okay, and so remember, if they have a substantial stem on them. You don't need to put a pick on the end. Sometimes you have to if they're kind of soft and wobbly. I think these are fine just to stick right into the grapevine after you put a little glue on them. So let's just start adding some of this extra foliage. And we're just going to stick it straight into the grapevine. All right. We'll go ahead and cut a bunch of these. These particular stems are not the type that I save, so you can just discard those. Not my favorites. So we're going to just distribute these evenly around. Now, I don't know if y'all know this, but see these little bitty indentions? Right here, there's a little indention. If you look at a lot of the florals, they're going to have those little indentions. And that's where the factory is suggesting that you cut. I don't know why, but that's where they'd suggest that you cut. That most all floral picks, see here's another one right here. It's fine if you don't cut there. See, here's another one right there. I don't know the advantage to cutting on those particular places. If it's easier to cut them, I don't have an answer, but I thought I would bring that to your attention. If you ever have wondered what those were. Or you may not have ever seen them. So this goes fairly quickly because you're just putting in these random little pieces, okay? Oops, I'll grab this one. Put some over here because it looks a little bare on the other side of her. I like these because they have those berries on there. And even though this garland is going up that way, you can start with some of the movement going this way on these picks. It doesn't all have to go the same direction. Okay, this 3 bushes really has a lot in it, so you might could even get by with 2. Let me put a little bit up here behind her head. Yeah, you might could get by with 2, but I like it full, so. Put a few down here behind the bow. That's a big piece. See this one? And I think we can put some right up in that area. There's really no wrong or right way to do this. You just kind of have to visually see where you think there might be a little opening that needs something. And I think we need something right behind her before we run out. Let's go right over here behind. Now, I've had people ask me, do I clean out my grapevines before I use them? Absolutely not. And the reason why is I like as much in those grapevines to grab picks. And so don't worry about trying to clean them out. I've had people that take them outside and brush all the stuff out of them. Don't do that. For me, it's a waste of time. Okay, how cute is that looking? Yeah, the bow needs help, but oh well. Okay, let's add you're probably saying, what? More stuff? You could stop at any point. You know, if you get this supply list and you decide you're going to substitute, totally fine. I just picked out some elements that speak to me, that I love. And you may have some things in your stash that will work. But I'm mainly showing you how to kind of put things together. All right, these I love. These are like little fuzzy caterpillars. And so I only have 3 stems. So I think what I'm going to do is put one on either side and one coming out of the top. And I'm not going to take them apart other than, see, there's another one of those indentions right there. I don't know why, but that's what it is. Let me grab some water. See, that's cute. You can kind of work it in with your other florals. Let's put one here. And don't leave them flat, bend them around so that they've got some shape. And they can be sticking way out here like this, it's fine. And one more. And instead of this one being right across, I'm going to bring it up a little higher. That way it's a little more unexpected. It's not just very, very symmetrical. Gives it a little more interest on what you're doing. So let's bend these, kind of round them out a little. Yes, perfect. Okay, let's see. These berries, and I've only got 2 of them because they are big bushes. But the one thing I do love about these berries is every one of these little pieces of brown moves and bends. So watch, you can just bend it, and it's wired. So it's going to give you a lot of options on placement. We're just going to cut these off individually. So this looks like something that's just kind of growing out in the the wild, you know, like a vine. Here's our tag. And the stems are pretty substantial on this, so there's no need to pick them. Okay. And I love these. They shape out really nice. And we're just going to randomly put these in. Again, for texture, gives it a little more to look at. These long pieces, let me show you how we're going to use that. I'm going to start right about up here, okay? And then I'm going to come out with it. And because it's got a wire on all these berries, I'm going to come around something else and wrap it around. And see how that kind of just sticks out instead of being flat. It gives you a little more 3D. I love that. We'll do it on the other side. So, stick it in to the grapevine. Let's see how these strings we'll have to deal with. And then we're gonna, I know I'm in the way. Let me see. So this is a wiry kind of thing. We're gonna come around this other branch and just wrap it around. So see how it gives it a little more control on where it's going to stay. When Sandy and I go to market and pick out these kind of materials, we're looking for things like this that are easier to use. Now I'm going to come down under this bow and put one of these. Kind of under the bow and having it come out of the tails of the ribbon. And we'll kind of work with those after we fluff the bow. These have other colors that I'm pretty sure it comes in. I think there's a cream color, maybe green. But this is a beautiful one for fall. It's fall, y'all. Actually, it's not, but we're gonna pretend. Put this up here. Have it come in back there. And the wirier it looks, wirier, I don't know if that's a word, but the more wired it looks, the better. It gives it more of a natural feel. And 2 of these was plenty. We got a lot of cuts off of this. Let's put one right there. Work all those pieces in. Don't leave anything to spare. Let's see, let's come from behind him maybe. Or you know what, we could even come down kind of through the middle on the front side. And we don't want to hide, of course, the words, but this could go around her arm like that. That way we give it something right there in the middle. Same thing with him. Let's kind of come from behind him and around his front. Get all these strings off. Okay, one more piece. Let's see. Maybe we'll come right here in the front again with the ribbon. Just to kind of have this trailing down with the tails on the ribbon. Okay, we're getting close. Now I have these cattails. We can add, I don't think we're going to need two. I think it's just going to be one. Let's add just a few of these for the brown, and it's got a little bit of grass in it. Now I am going to pick these, and the reason being, look, see how this slides and can slide off the grass part. So let's pick that to kind of secure it. And that way we're sure that it's going to stay. But anything, see, I like the way that that brown is in there because we've got brown in our ribbon. But I don't think we're going to need two bushes. I'm just going to use this one. There's plenty on here. And we'll just save that other one for another project. Just scatter a few of these in for the brown. And that grass gives it a little bit of texture too. And his little jacket and everything's brown. Our overalls are brown. So we can add that in there for him. Actually, I think that's all I'm going to put in there, just a touch. Now, I've got 3 pumpkins that I pulled. And my intention was to add some of these pumpkins, which I'm probably still going to do. Like that one can go up there, and then we'll put the 2 little ones down here, okay? So, how do we put these pumpkins in there? There's that styrofoam, you know, very lightweight. So here's what I will do. We're going to take some of our brown wire. I'm going to put a pick on it. I'm going to figure out how I want it to sit in there, which is going to be kind of at a catty corner. So I'm going to want my wire to go in right about here. So then I'm just going to push that in. Like so. And then this is going to go through the grapevine. I'll probably cut way too much wire, but oh well. Let's push all these elements kind of out of the way. And I'm probably going to have to kind of bring it over here. So all I'm doing is trying to fish this brown wire through to the back. Right there it is. And we're going to pull it up. So once I kind of get it placed where I want it, and don't worry about these leaves in her face, we'll figure it out. All right, now I'm just going to take this brown wire and see how nicely that blends in with the grapevine. Now I'm just going to come around and kind of tie a knot. Actually, let me cut some of this off. I don't need all of that. I'd rather have too much than not enough. So anyway, we're just going to take that and turn it back on itself. Come back up under. Kind of have to get rough with it. Okay, there it is. You can see the wire got stripped a little bit. Now just tuck that in under your grapevine so it's not going to show. Okay, so there it is. Now once it gets on there, you can play with it and make sure it's not covering up anything else. But it's not going to come off. See, it's on there. Okay, let's put the other two little ones. Same thing. We're just going to put a piece of wire. I've got glue like stringing all the way from me. It's like spider webs. Okay, let me get a little piece of wire. Where is my... Oh, right in front of me. Okay, pick. This is a fun one that we've done. It's not that difficult to do. And just put that in there. If you don't want to use these pieces, you can always use gourds or, you know, something like that. So I'm going to come down here from this side. See if I can fish it through there. This part of the grapevine's a little bit more open. The only bad thing about this kind of wire is it will strip it sometimes. You know, strip that covering off of it. But oh well. And I'm just doing the same thing I did on the top pumpkin. I'm just wrapping this back on itself and wiring it on to the grapevine. So that little pumpkin's kind of tucked in under there. And I think I want to put the other one kind of right here behind her. Yep. Okay, let's do that. I like to work in threes. Had 3 boys. Each one of my boys had 3 children. It's kind of a pattern. So I like working in threes. So 3 pumpkins. We're just going to push this in. Cut that off. Okay, little lady, you're about to get a pumpkin butt. Come off, come off, come off. There we go. Okay, let's put her pumpkin on there. I think I said on the... Oh, here they are. Okay, I'm turning around backwards trying to get my... You gotta be a contortionist. There's my wire. I'm gonna come through. And this is not going to come off. I mean, it'd have to be something major for it to come off. All right. Let's see what we got. All right, final touch. This is one of my signature looks. I use this a lot. You know I do if you've been with me for a while. This willow. And it comes in a big bundle like this. Different lengths are in it. I'm going to pull out some of the longer pieces like that. And I usually like to get 3. Like here's 1, 2, 3, okay? So 1, 2, 3 pieces. Nice long piece. We're gonna put a pick on it. Put a pick on it to keep those 3 pieces together. And what I like to do is I'm gonna put it kind of behind this pumpkin. And then I'm gonna kind of loop it like so. And then we can actually use, see this stuff right here that we used earlier that's got the wire on it. Kind of make a nice poof with it. And then we can use this to anchor it. So watch, we're gonna just take that and wrap it around and then push it more inward. And then because this is kind of hanging down, we can come down here behind the pumpkin. Do the same thing with this piece. We're gonna wrap that around because it's wired. And then just let that kind of flow down. So it looks a little bit like an overgrown vine. And see, it's kind of got a lot of movement. It doesn't have to be perfect. You want it to look natural. So let's put a piece on this side, and then we're going to fluff out our bow. So let me get a big long piece. You'll get a lot of cuts out of this, and I know some of the pieces are shorter, but that's okay too. You'll use those. Here, let's cut these 3. And then we're going to come up behind the pumpkin, but go in the other direction, okay? I'm just going to stick that in there. And it's okay to come in front of the scarecrow. That's fine. Or you can go back behind his head. I think we're going to stay in front. Then we're going to use these little gold wired pieces to anchor this willow vine. And here's one thing you can do also is, just like in nature, this is going to grow around that pumpkin stem. So just wrap it around there. It looks like it, you know, a vine like this will find something to wrap itself around. So let's come down here. Find another piece of that berry garland and let this just flow down and around and let it just be its wild self. Now, final check. Let's just look and see if there are any adjustments to be made. Make sure you can see your sign. Move anything out of the way that you need to. Let's see if we can go up a little higher. Work on this bow just a little bit. But I think it turned out really good. And it's easy. Y'all can do it, I promise. Totally do it. I like the way you can see this happy fall, y'all, now. Adding those streamers. Okay, I think we've got it done. Probably in record time. And then the more I fiddle with it, you know, just have, at some point you just have to stop. Stop! Okay, I think we're done. Fall is almost here, right? No, it's not. All right, thank you for joining us this month. Look forward to seeing you again for another tutorial, and I wish you lots of success in making this fall creation. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for watching our video. Please like and subscribe to our channel. Leave us a comment. We love hearing from you. And until next time, I'll say goodbye.